WEF states Americans must be stripped of First Amendment rights for their own good. And of course, we know that in the West, whatever Americans do, everybody else copies and does. The World Economic Forum declared that the U.S. First Amendment, which protects the freedom of speech and freedom of the press, must be consigned to history in order to allow for a successful reboot of humanity. Make no mistake, they hate Americans for the freedom that they give people. According to U.S. Senator Joe Manchin, the U.S. First Amendment is a problem with the globalist bouffons that the World Economic Forum must find a solution for. This is what being a traitor on the global stage looks like. It means, no, according to Manchin and the globalists at Davos, where they're having a meeting now, until tomorrow, the media space is not controlled enough. This may sound absurd to us when you consider the mainstream media is completely, not doing their job. Manchin, Schwab, and Davos elite are not talking about mainstream media. They're talking about independent media and the internet in general. They're talking about real people like you and me. We get most of our information from the internet, so that's what they want to control. The internet is a major problem for the elites. They want humanity to live in a world where political theater like the fake arrest of Greta Thunberg this week in Germany is broadcast into the homes of millions of people, where everybody accepts everything on face value because there is nobody left to question the narratives and expose the lies. If we take a look at Thunberg and her fellow actors laughing, posing, and getting ready for the cameras before the fake arrest that was carried on every mainstream media network in the world, it's all fake, and that was the way the global elite like it. Anything real is perhaps not taken care of, not reported on by mainstream media for reasons that control want to take over. So we're living through a full frontal assault on truth and decency at a time when untruths are peddled as self-evident truths, and anyone daring to tell the truth about real agendas of the elites is slandered, vilified, and even worse. Klaus Schwab was confronted by an independent journalist from Japan this week at the World Economic Forum at Davos. Take note the reaction when she says she's an independent journalist. He didn't even want to talk to her. So the elite will stop at nothing to control the media and the internet because the stakes are so high. You don't have to take my word for it. Klaus Schwab and his minions are becoming increasingly arrogant and have begun to brag about their plans to decrease the human population of the world, ushering the New World Order. Schwab has even given up pretending he's not hell-bent on destroying even America from the inside. He's admitting that America will be destroyed and the world will be run by the World Economic Forum and its stakeholders, including BlackRock and Bill Gates. Now, mainstream media outlets have been exposed reading from the exact same script and advancing an identical propaganda narrative. Take last year's highly theatrical Mar-a-Lago raid, for example, which raises the question, what do the elite have to hide, and why are they so determined to make everybody see major events in the same way? Could it be mind control in action? And there is a reason they are called programs and programming. So we should not be surprised. In 1949, a CIA director called Frank Wisner was given a task to create an organization responsible for the manipulation of media and direct action in the United States and other countries around the world. And the operation was known as Mockingbird. The justification for Operation Mockingbird was to fight against communism, but as often happens with government programs, the stated objective and the reality of what the program is used for do not always align. The CIA would go on to hire many top journalists working for the big mainstream media outlets to further their cause, but they did not stop there. They also hired many students and foreign journalists as well. Anything to stop the theater of communism and increasingly influence public opinion in other ways as well. The CIA even funded Hollywood films. And while we can sit here and argue about the ethics of an operation like Mockingbird, there's no argument about its effectiveness. Operation Mockingbird was incredibly effective. Operation Mockingbird was a large-scale program of the CIA that began in the early years of the Cold War and attempted to manipulate domestic American news media organizations for propaganda purposes, the CIA was able to implement mass media manipulation system, allowing them to control their narrative while censoring those they did not like, as long as it was a company in their control. Huge media companies that controlled vast swaths of the American media landscape, including CBS, Time Magazine, the New York Times, and the Washington Post, were all on the bankroll of the CIA and directly under their control. While Operation Mockingbird was able to operate secretly for many years, they could not stay in the shadows forever. In 1964, David Wise and Thomas B. Ross published a book called The Invisible Government. The book blew the lid on CIA covert activities and how the agency operated. Then, just 2 years later, Ramparts published the first expose of Mockingbird. Sol Stern, the writer of the expose, describes the experience, quote, "Until the Ramparts story broke, the government could count on the mandarins of Washington journalism to protect national security secrets. But as details of the front group spilled out, editorials in the Times and the Post skewed the secret funding arrangements and compared it with methods used by America's Cold War enemies, China, Russia, etc. The CIA was beginning to feel the heat. The Watergate scandal drew the attention of the public onto America's many agencies, and this led to many investigations, most notably the Church hearing. In 1975, a U.S. Senator by the name of Frank Church set up a committee forever known as the Church Committee. CIA Director William Colby was called in for a hearing. The Church Committee would go on to release various reports exposing the CIA, leading to public outrage about their actions. The next year, George H.W. Bush, who was the new CIA director, publicly ended the CIA's relationship with the media, stating, "The CIA will not enter into any paid or contractual relationship with any full or part-time news correspondent accredited by any United States news service, newspaper, periodical, radio, or television network or station." Perhaps that's why the CNN are listed as entertainment and not news. Just a thought. Regardless, the scary fact is that mainstream media is a cesspool of manipulation and thought control, and 99% of people have no clue about what's going on. If you think that's bad in the 1960s and 70s, you need to get yourself up to speed, because in 2012, Obama reversed the Smith-Mundt Act, meaning domestic audiences can again be targeted by government propaganda. Now, if you're wondering what Obama handiwork looks like in practice, consider this Exhibit A for the prosecution. The Post, W.H. Auden, summed it up best. He said, "Propaganda is a monologue that is not looking for an answer but an echo." Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. This is by Baxter Dimitri on News Punch. Thank you. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.